I'm Dan Driggs, and I was asked how I started doing artwork. Actually, it was about 50 years ago, and I wanted to take music lessons, and my parents thought that I probably wouldn't practice, and they were probably right. So they bought me a paint set, and after about a year and a half of painting and thoroughly enjoying it and selling a couple pieces, my dad found an Italian master who was teaching classes, and I took private classes from him for 3 years. I call him an Italian master because he had an ability to paint with 2 brushes in one hand simultaneously. And good artwork. I wish I could paint as fast as he could. And so, again, that was about 50 years ago, and I've been painting off and on since then. Even though my dad did encourage me taking classes, he did not encourage me getting a degree in art. He wanted me to get a real job, and so he included art education so I'd have a diploma to teach. I never used it. I did teach private classes. Recently, I've taught at 2 different nursing homes. I taught over at Westminster in Lafayette, here in Lafayette, and then also have taught in Frankfurt at the Wesley Manor. I gotta think of the name of the place. Classes here have been oil painting and pastel. As far as how I got to the point where I'm at now, I have through the years painted in watercolor, I've painted in acrylic, I've painted in oil, I've done egg tempera. If it's a painting medium, I just found very comfortable painting it. And most of that time was in oils until my wife developed an allergy to the solvents, and I couldn't paint in the same house. And so I had to switch to acrylic, and I did not like acrylic. But after 2 or 3 years of painting in acrylic, I found that I was able to make exactly the same image. You can't tell the difference whether it's oil or acrylic. And then I'd experiment with watercolor, experimented with egg tempera, other mediums, and today I do oil painting and acrylic on probably 95% of my work. This show consists primarily of oil paintings. As far as developing the actual piece, I have painted in plein air. For those who don't know, that's on location, outdoors. When I was younger, I don't like bugs, I don't like wind, I don't like the heat of the sun, and so I don't do too much plein air anymore. I do work in the studio. I take photos. Although I'm not a photographer, I emphasize that I take snapshots. I may take 800 snapshots in a day walking through a forest, but end up with 2 paintings. When I'm doing things like the birds, of course, birds don't stand still for you, so you almost have to work with the animal on the photo, at least I do. And I find that I can take the animal from one photo, I use a background from another photo, and kind of compose them together to get the composition that I want. Farm scenes are similar, obviously not as a problem with them getting up and leaving, but as far as lighting, I like late afternoon, early evening, and early morning lighting because of the contrast it gives and the mood it sets, and that I don't paint fast enough to do it on location. I've done portraits, I've done landscapes. When I'm thinking in terms of animals, there's more birds than anything else because of the fact that I see them more often. I'm more of an illustrator. I paint what I see. And so you'll see typically yard birds to herons. Herons are probably my favorite. I go out hunting for them. And not physically hunting, but camera hunting. And so that I'm able to take pictures in strange areas that the lighting is nice and the mood is set so that hopefully the viewer can feel like they're present with the animals. Again, I've done other animals. I've done all kinds of animals from the mountains. I lived in Wyoming for years, and so I've done topics that you would find from deer to antelope to raccoons, you name it. But with landscapes, wherever I'm at. When I lived in Nebraska, I did Nebraska landscapes. Lived in Wyoming, did Wyoming landscapes. And all the ones in this show were all from Indiana. This particular piece, the house is located about a mile to the south of Mulberry, and I painted a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. There's now a house over here, a new house. It just changes the mood of the whole thing, but you still can find us. We just go straight south from Mulberry. I drive back roads. I love taking back roads. I would say probably 80% of the farms in this show are between Frankfurt and Lafayette, because when I teach classes in Lafayette, I would take back roads, roads that I don't remember ever taking before, and so I find myself lost a couple times. Sounds strange, but when you're following curved roads and you just kind of go where you want to go, I had to hurry back to the class. But they're all in this area. Feel free to contact me. You can go to danieldriggs.com. That goes to my website, which is Driggs Fine Arts. Or you can go to contact me through my email address, which is daniel.driggs@SBC Global, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions or guide you in a particular direction in your own artwork if you're interested. That's all. Thanks.